just past 3 p.m. on Thursday. It is now just past 3 p.m. on Thursday, January 29th, 2026. We're here in the Great Hall. This is our first audiovisual and lighting ad hoc committee meeting. I'll begin with a roll call. First, Director Santiago. Director Hayden.
Present.
Councilor Soto.
Present.
And myself, Councilor McLaren, present. And I will now accept a motion for the acceptance of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Soto, second by Director Hayden. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Now I will open the floor to public participation, but seeing as there is none, we'll close that then. Proceed to vote for the chair of the committee.
I nominate you, Councilor Ella McLaren, to remain as the chair of this committee.
Thank you very much. Any other nominations? Wonderful. So we'll take a roll call for that then. Director Santiago,
Ella.
Director Hayden,
Yes.
Councilor Soto,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Thank you all very much. I appreciate you for being here. And then we'll go to a brief presentation. I'll just kind of outline the purpose and the scope of this committee, as well as some suggested projects as they're currently documented, although they're subject to some change. And then I'll open the floor to my fellow committee members for comment. So the purpose and scope, as stated, is to evaluate, improve, and modernize the audiovisual and lighting systems in the Great Hall to support public meetings, accessibility, and public engagement. The projects as listed are a comprehensive system assessment, user experience and functional review by way of gathering feedback from affected parties such as counselors, the public, etc., technical needs analysis, cost estimates and funding options, the development of an implementation roadmap, both short and long term, and of course a final report including findings and recommendations. So if anybody else has any detail they'd like to add now, you're more than welcome to.
If I may, Madam Chair. So in essence, the constituents watch our council meetings, our committee meetings through the cable television, or now recently YouTube. And so a lot of the concerns that we've received on the council, myself, is interruption of the service, but the sound is a huge distraction when you have someone at the podium and there's like, is that called feedback or attrition? And so that's one of their main concerns. The lighting for me as an gracing counselor, I should say, I like to use the word aging, my eyesight right now on the floor, and when it's 4 p.m., it's dark already, it's very hard for me to actually see the documentation. So I've personally thought of bringing in one of those lights that you tap, and like you see at the restaurants sometimes, just so I could see better. So I just wanted to verbalize that before we start so that our directors have some concept of the common complaints from not only the council side, but the constituency. So again, one of the huge things is interruption, and I know that MCS is very, it's on top of it and does address it and does the research behind it. But in essence, what we want to do is become more accessible, but be able to have the equipment in here that I'd like to see it state of the art. And I know that there's a dollar charge to that, so we can only do so much with what may be available for us. And obviously the council would have to appropriate for that. So I just wanted to kind of preface the conversation with that. Thank you.
Either of you have any further comment, feel free to add that here. Otherwise, we can move on to member introductions, for which I would turn to the directors first to just kind of give us a little bit of background.
Thank you. My name is Luis Santiago. I'm the Chief Information Officer for the City of Methuen, basically in charge of any technology initiative that supports, the employees to better serve the citizens. So anything that has to do with technology, including police and fire, that 24-hour operation, my department is in charge. And of course, being that, there's a lot of technology going on in this room, That's why I'm in this committee. That's it.
Hello, everyone. For those that don't know me, I'm Karen Hayden. I'm the executive director at Methuen Community Studios. Methuen Community Studios has been charged with running the government TV channel on the cable and streaming it to the residents of Methuen. Public meetings is just one thing we do. Working within this space obviously has presented its challenges, and I do want to just let people know that the system is a year old. So I don't think there's going to be a lot that we need to change, but there's certainly things that we can improve, work on, and just to make it a better experience for everybody.
Thank you, Counselor. Thank you, Director and Director Santiago. I'm here in support of you, Counselor Ella, as our chair for this committee, and see how I can better serve, and so we can collectively bring it back to the body as a whole.
Thank you very much for being a big part of the creation of this committee. I think it's certainly essential, and we look forward to working towards these ends. Would we like to continue on to discussing assignments for the next meeting? I do have a list here that was sent out of sort of an outline of what the expectations leading up to the next meeting would be for different departments, things that they should look into. Would you like to go into discussion of that?
So after reading the timeline and expectations, my train of thought was more from the director's end, because they probably have a better feel of how that should run. Yeah. So if they want to publicly say, this is what I think should go next, or this is how this may work, and the timeline is too tight, it's too long. Yeah, so if you feel that it should be longer, that is fine. And through the chair to both of you, I think it's more to set you guys up for success. So I think your input right now is really what should drive your agenda.
Absolutely.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
In my perspective, because this area here is part of the historic part of the building, and not a lot of structural changes can be made, I think, our priority director will be to first come up with a list of stuff that we can do. So we get together with the historical commission people, we get together with DPW, we talk to the mayor and see what can we change on the room. When we have that guidance, then we can come up with what the room needs. Better speakers, better microphones, better lighting. Because I think if we have all three, because the problem with this room is not made for a studio. It's just not. We just have to work with what we have. And there was a lot of money put into it like a year ago to change the equipment, right? So now we need better lighting, which is probably the number one reason why it looks bad. And we need better audio system in terms of, and I know the speakers were changed, we'll probably have a different approach of how we make this as a studio, right? Microphones, earpiece, lapels. So we have to think of all these things, but I think we first have to just verify it and meet with the right people to see what we can do in this room. Because for me, let's say I have an idea that a thing will come up and down, but we can't do this because we can't make a hole up there. She has an idea of putting lightings on the side and on the back. Maybe we can go now. So we first have to figure all those points. It depends on you how you're gonna name it and how we're gonna order it. But I think we should go from there first, try to figure out what we can do in the room. Because I know the historical part means you can't change anything outside, but when there's a historical room like this, then we can't change anything structural. We have to hide stuff, right? Even putting that speaker there, we have to ask them for permission. It takes forever. It's not a process of someone would just say yes or no. It's a whole process to do this. So I think that's where we should start. Get a list of what we think is going to be doing, then get the right people to give us the permission to do it. Then we go from there.
I think Louis has said that perfectly. This is a beautiful space. We want to maintain its integrity, but we also want it to be, as you say, a modern, have the ability to have meetings or presentations or whatever it is you need to do in this space as a modern council, zoning board, whoever else needs to use it. The other part of it, I think we can do up front here while we're working on the space questions, is perhaps just collect some of the specific feedback, maybe from some targeted people that we speak to. So for example, like I'd like to maybe talk to a couple former counselors who have just recently left about the experience, as well as some viewers and also current counselors, and just make sure that we are addressing some of the things that they want or need to be more effective. And I know I'm hearing lighting was definitely a big question, and also hearing everything the way that we'd like to hear it is another question. But what can we do in this space is definitely up on the front of the list for me.
If I may. Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is such a learning experience because it didn't dawn on me until you just said historical room, which obviously it's a beautiful space, and we would have think that I would have guessed it, but it triggered also maybe what we have, like how we use this piece of equipment, and I'm just putting this out there. I know it's too early to be discussing this. Maybe that a light comes out from whatever microphones in the future. I know lapels are, but that may help as well. So even things like that may, because the issue is here, and then whatever microphone goes there, if there's a lighting that would point down at whatever they're reading. But for example, even the whole light situation, I thought it could be a little bit more modern. People always question, why is that light there? Why does the bulb turn? It's very interesting to me to have to explain to a new counselor, why is that light on? And so things like that.
I think that was sort of a low-cost, quick solution to our problem.
Yeah.
But yes, it could probably be upgraded a little.
Yeah. So I guess, how do we keep the integrity of the room? I agree with both of you, and find what are the items that can make our life easier, I would say. Another thing, and I'll give and when you said about feedback, Director Hayden, were you thinking like a constant contact questionnaire or because maybe we can email them and see what we get back on the survey. That might work, or maybe a phone call conversation may work too. But looking at how can we send out the questions that you guys would formulate, of course, so that you guys can get that in the time.
Yeah, I think a survey might not be a bad idea, just because it'll be easier to kind of get more targeted response. And we could easily collect the data. And I'm pretty sure you could help me with that, Louis, if you wanted to. And then we could, if we need to follow up, we could certainly have phone calls with people that, we want to talk to further. But yeah.
So would we say that our next two items for the chair, for Madam Chair to have on the agenda, would be the outcome if we were able to get a meeting with the Historical Commission? You said it would be a priority, and also the Public Works and questionnaire. So those three could be agenda items, I would say, for the next agenda, Madam Chair, if that's okay with you. And then it would be up to you as directors to kind of let our chair know what works for a timeline for that to happen. Because I don't know what the schedule is for. I know DPW may be easier to communicate with, but like the Historic Commission may have a schedule they run, or.
Yeah, I'm happy to add those to the agenda for the next meeting. Of course, it's just going to be reliant on however long you think you need to accomplish those things. And then it sounds like the development of the survey questionnaire, Director Hayden, that you might be spearheading that in conjunction with Director Santiago?
Yes, I think, he'd probably I might do the questions, you might do the nuts and bolts to make it work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, we can
And now, obviously, you'll have you check the questions too before
sure.
but yeah.
Sounds great. I can certainly include those couple of things for next time.
I just wanted to take a moment. This timeline seemed quite tight to me, especially now that we need to consult other people regarding some of the issues. Would we be able to make a suggestion maybe at the next meeting what the actual timeline could be?
Absolutely. I mean, all of that is subject to change according to how much time you think you need. I think we have up to 6 months until the committee's dissolved. Perfect. So yeah, as long as you stay in touch with me about how long you need in the interim, we can make that happen. No problem. Any other comments, suggestions, concerns about the plan as it exists?
No.
Any further business on any matter?
I wanted to thank you, Madam Chair, for your patience. The delay today was due to me being late to your first
We forget.
meeting, so I am begging for forgiveness. And I appreciate you taking, spearheading this committee. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you all for being here. With that, I believe we will adjourn this meeting.
Thank you. Awesome.